The governor's budget team and the unions talk it out as thousands wait for a decision on concessions.
Today's ruling will come out.
And former Lieutenant Governor Michael Fedeli is here to tell us what he's thinking as he's watching this budget battle play out. You're watching The Real Story. I'm Lori Perez. Anticipation and anxiety are building as the days go on and talks continue between the state's labor unions and the governor's budget team. Colleen Flanagan is Governor Malloy's Director of Communications. Colleen, thanks for being here. You, of course, have been busy over the last few days fielding nonstop calls from reporters asking if a deal is close. And I know that the standard answer to that is you don't know, right?
That's true. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we don't know. We're hopeful and optimistic that a deal will be reached. That's our number one goal, and that's what everyone, the unions and the administration are working toward. So we're not there yet, but they're still talking, which is great news, and something I don't think a lot of people thought would be continuing this long in the game. So we're optimistic. We're hopeful.
And we're not supposed to be reading anything into the fact that the days are going on, but the days are going on.
The days are going on. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and what the governor is asking the unions for, he said himself, is a lot, and it's a lot of shared sacrifice for everyone in the state of Connecticut. And what he's asking for from the unions is something that, you know, they want to make sure that they fully understand and that they have a say in and a part in, and that their membership does as well. And the fact that these conversations are still going on is a very good thing.
How would you characterize his mood right now?
You know what? I think he's somewhere between hopeful and optimistic. The good thing for him is that he's been saying he's going to be doing all of this all the way through the election cycle, transition team now as he's governing. This isn't something that he just came to overnight. He's been telling everybody it's going to take a lot of shared sacrifice, there's going to be tax increases, program cuts, and concessions. And so this isn't a new song for him, which in some ways makes it easier. But again, he knows what he's asking for is a lot, and he's hopeful that we can reach a deal.
Another thing that he said repeatedly in these town hall meetings that we went to was that he wasn't going to balance it on the backs of the local towns and cities, and he wasn't going to cut education funding like New York did. Mm-hmm. But if this alternative plan goes into effect, and if some of the options that were suggested go into effect, it is going to do those things.
And he is loath to make those decisions. This is not his first choice. This is not his second choice. This is nowhere that anybody, the unions or the administration, want to go. But he is constitutionally obligated to have a balanced budget by July 1st. There's $1 billion right now that we're working toward a concession deal on. If that $1 billion doesn't come to fruition in that manner, then he needs to figure out a different way to do it. He doesn't want to make those cuts. He doesn't want to close the VOTEC schools. He doesn't want to close, DMV offices. It's not something he wants to do, but he needs to have a balanced budget.
Would he have different options, though, or would he have another plan if they hadn't passed the budget? I mean, I guess I still don't understand what the advantage was to passing the budget before he had this concession deal settled.
Sure. Well, you've covered budgets in the past. Usually they're passed at the 11th hour, literally, in the waning days of session. We were just making a lot of progress. The Appropriations and Finance Committees were making a lot of progress. And this $1 billion was something that the legislature voted on. And importantly, the Republicans included that concession figure in their budget as well. So it's something that people from both sides of the aisle were looking toward and we're working on. And that's exactly what he's continuing to do.
You know, of course, the sending out of the layoff notices and the release of what some people called Plan B raised a lot of concerns, a lot of ire, anger, worry, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, is there in any way that he kind of sees the point now from all those people who came to those town hall meetings, the state workers who said, listen, I'm going to get beat up twice as a regular taxpayer and at my job?
Right. I think he hears their concerns, and he responded to every single person who asked him a question at the town hall. But at those same town halls, he was being told by the other 50% of the people that we have to cut every program and service under the sun. And what he's trying to do is find the middle line and make sure that state workers have the benefits and the pensions that they should have, but that are more in line with their private sector counterparts, and that he's not cutting every program imaginable, and that our children still go to good schools and we still have affordable housing. anything. It's not easy. There's no magic bullet for sure.
And that kind of is the catch-22, is that, people say there should be more spending cuts, and then you release a list of options of possible spending cuts, and everyone says, well, wait, no, I didn't want that cut.
Right.
Right?
Right. It's the not in my backyard. Cut everything that has nothing to do with me, but don't cut anything that I want. And listen, I understand that. He understands that.
Yeah.
When it comes close to home, it's much more personal. And the services on which people rely when they hear they're going to get cut, it's scary, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and that's why he's really hopeful that a deal can be reached sooner rather than later.
Do you think that if it doesn't happen, that he'll consider it a major blow to what he had in mind for his first budget and his administration?
Certainly it's not his first choice, but what he promised first and foremost was a budget that was not balanced on gimmicks or tricks or fund sweeps, and that's what it's going to be one way or another. It's going to be the first honest budget this state has had in a very long time, and it may not be pretty, but it's honest.
Roy Occhiogrosso had told me the other day that the tenor of these talks was a little bit different because all of the players have known each other and even been friendly with each other. I mean, I guess if you could tell me how accurate that is.
That's extremely accurate. Mark Ojakian has been around in state government for a very long time, and he is dealing on behalf of the administration. Roy has been around. Governor Malloy has been around. I mean, these are people who have long-standing relationships with members of each and every union, and this isn't personal. It's the tenor of it is much more respectful than it has been in the past under different administrations, and that's a priority of ours. We're not demonizing anybody. We're not out to get anybody, and I think that the unions understand that.
And so with each day that passes, you just wait and
I field more and more questions from reporters. But like I said, we're somewhere between hopeful and optimistic, and the fact that we are still talking is a huge step.
All right, Colleen Flanagan, thanks for joining us.
Thank
we
you.
Appreciate you taking the time. Well, up next, we're going to get the view from the other side of the table. We're going to hear from the labor unions on their hopes for a deal with the governor.